If you were talking to a young person who's not feeling quite sure, but wants to do something pretty exciting and groundbreaking in the way that you have, what would you offer to that young person today?
Can I change that up a little bit? Can
Absolutely.
I? Yeah, can I? So,
Do whatever you
I,
like.
so no, because I'm thinking as you asked that question, I'm thinking about a young man who I I think I've been talking to a young man and he's in his 20s,
Hmm,
I don't know, 20, mid 20s,
sure.
and he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he's in a situation where he's in this rut of a job
Right.
that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of kids or a lot of young adults like that right now
Sure.
who are doing these jobs. And I think it's partially because COVID has, put this veil over people and isolated people, and people truly got to see who they are
Right.
and didn't like it. And
Mm,
it kind of messed with them mentally. That's
sure.
just my perception. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying what I saw with my friends, my neighbors, and young adults between 14 and 20, 23.
Sure.
And for those people out there that are, for lack of a better term, milling about in a circle in this holding pattern,
Yeah.
waiting for some input,
Mm,
I don't, it's not going to come until you get out of holding,
right.
until you start going in a direction, whether it's north, east, or west.
Sure.
You've been holding for 2.00 years or 2 plus 00 years.
Right.
And it's time for you now to get out of holding and just go in a direction.
Right.
Just just move. If there's anything that kind of piques your interest, go in that direction
Yep.
and do something different.
That's great advice.
And because people are stuck right now, it's
Mm,
I hate, I use the aviation term, they're stuck in holding, but they're in a pattern right now. And I don't understand why they're in that pattern. Like I'm zipping around in my plane and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm holding.
that's right.
I'm like, why?
Aren't you talking to air traffic control?
Yeah,
They
it's
let
like,
you go a long
yeah,
time ago. They cleared you for
yeah.
approach.
They cleared you for the approach. I just
That's
want to
right.
hold. But you've been cleared. I'm holding right now.
That's right.
And I can't get a sense of why they're holding.
Sure.
Sometimes it's like, oh well, I'm just waiting for something to come by, or
Yeah.
oh, my parents did this and I'm just helping.
Right.
I'm not sure. Like the answers are very. It's disturbingly like it's a disturbing non-answer to me.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Choose
that
direction.
is yeah, that is my advice. I just move. Movement is life, but holding,
Yes.
eventually you run out of gas.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, great point. That's great.
Eventually you run out of gas and you're going down. I mean, either shoot the approach, go to another intersection, just go and
Go.
then get there.
Yeah.
And then once you do, then decide what you want.
Yeah.
I
No, I'm just reading Atomic Habits right now. I don't know if you've picked that one up, but
have not.
it's actually it's worthwhile. But one of the things that it's James Clear is the author, and he differentiates between motion and action, and I like that because I think the motion is the holding pattern, right? Like we're planning, or we're talking, or we're complaining, or we're whining, or we're just getting a beer instead of doing something productive. Action is like choose a direction and move in that direction. And don't worry. I mean, I hear these young people also worrying about, gosh, if I do this thing, I'm going to be stuck doing it the rest of my life. And I'm like, no, you're not. But you stick with something long enough to learn something and to contribute, right? And then if you
Right.
decide you need to change direction, you get to change direction. It's okay. Life is different than it was 30 and 40 years ago. And but taking the action, not just being in motion, right? Or being
Right.
stuck. I like that a lot. The holding pattern analogy is a great one. Thanks for listening to The Grit Factor. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast app and share it with a friend. Also, pick up your own copy of The Grit Factor, for more candid stories and lessons from leaders in the vanguards of their fields. And invest in yourself and in your team with learning journeys in grit, leadership, purpose, and storytelling at thegritinstitute.com. Thanks for listening. I hope you'll join me for the next episode of The Grit Factor.